He told me that Ashlee did something to herself, and she was being taken to the hospital, and he told me she was stable. Those were the exact words Yolanda Denise Indres heard from her daughter's fiancé, Joe McCann, when he finally picked up the phone. She pressed him immediately. When did this happen? He told her it had been 11 hours prior to that call. 11 hours. Her daughter, 31-year-old Miami lifestyle influencer Ashlee Jenae, real name Ashlee Robinson, had already been rushed unconscious from a luxury villa at the Zuri Zanzibar resort in Tanzania to a hospital, a belt found around her neck and an unidentified mark on her throat, and the man who was supposed to marry her had said nothing, done nothing, contacted no one, for 11 hours. When Yolanda hung up, she waited. She did not hear from Joe McCann again. The next call came from the hotel. Her daughter was dead. Bell subscribe/follow for more updates as this investigation develops. Round Pushpin, where are you watching from? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts on the case. Upright Arrow, share this story. The more people know, the louder the call for justice for Ashlee. That phone call, and everything that surrounds it, now sits at the center of an international criminal investigation that has pulled in Tanzanian police, the U.S. Department of State, legal teams on both sides of the Atlantic, and a grieving family that has refused, at every turn, to be silenced or sidelined. On April 19, 2026, Zanzibar authorities issued their formal finding. Ashlee Jenae died by suicide. The family's response was immediate and absolute. They do not accept it. And as the physical evidence has slowly surfaced, piece by painful piece, the reasons to question the official account have only multiplied. To understand how a birthday trip to one of the most beautiful islands in the world became a crime scene, you have to start at the beginning, at the Zuri Zanzibar, the luxury resort on the north coast of the island where Ashlee and McCann checked in on April 4, 2026. The trip had been planned as a double celebration, Ashlee's 31st birthday and what became her engagement. McCann had proposed days earlier, on April 3rd, during a safari at Cerebral Wildlife in Tanzania, getting down on one knee as a lion walked past. Ashlee had posted the video to Instagram, laughing, crying, reaching for him, with the caption, "If this is a dream, no one wake me up." A day later, she posted birthday photos. On April 5th, her final post went up, a photo of her feeding a giraffe, Joe beside her. "Exactly where I need to be," she wrote. She never posted again. What her followers could not see, and what Tanzanian police later confirmed through witness accounts, is that from the moment the couple arrived at the Zuri Zanzibar, they were fighting. Not one argument on one bad night. Every single day, from April 4th to April 8th, hotel staff and other guests witnessed the couple in sustained, serious conflict. 5 consecutive days. The North Unguja Regional Police Commander, Benedict Mapujara, confirmed this pattern to Tanzanian outlet The Citizen. Multiple witnesses came forward independently. The arguments were not quiet. They were visible enough and alarming enough that resort management was tracking them. What the arguments were specifically about has not been fully disclosed in official police statements. But what has circulated publicly, and what has not been denied, is that some of the conflict centered on McCann's conduct with other women. Social media accounts, unverified by mainstream journalism, have alleged that McCann was involved with local women in Tanzania during the trip, and that an additional companion may have traveled to the island with him. Those specific claims remain unconfirmed at the level of credited reporting. What is confirmed, in the official record, is that the fighting was constant, that it was serious, and that it culminated in a resort intervention severe enough to bring police into the picture before Ashlee was even found. By the evening of April 8th, the Zuri Zanzibar made the decision to physically separate the couple. McCann was moved to a separate villa approximately a 10-minute walk from where Ashlee would remain. This was not two people choosing to cool off in different rooms. This was a luxury resort, staffed by people trained to handle high-net-worth guests with discretion and care, making the judgment call that these two people could not safely stay in the same space. The resort went further. They filed a formal report with Nungwi Police Station that night, flagging specific concerns about Ashlee's well-being. The police, by the resort's own action, were notified that something was wrong before Ashlee was discovered. That is a critical fact. It means there was an institutional record of concern, a formal alert to local law enforcement, and a staff actively watching the situation. And still, hours later, Ashlee Robinson was found dying alone in her villa. Ashlee had called her mother that evening. She told Yolanda she and Joe had gotten into an argument. She said hotel staff had moved them to separate rooms. Her mother heard the distress in her voice, but there was an ocean between them, and there was not much she could do but wait for the next call. That call never came from Ashlee. The next time Yolanda heard anything, it was Joe McCann's voice telling her that everything was fine. Here is what McCann told police about the discovery. He returned to Ashlee's villa, accompanied by resort security, and found that she had hanged herself on the door. That is his account, given directly to Tanzanian investigators. But the official police account, as reported by CBS News citing Zanzibar police directly, tells a different story. A hotel worker found Ashlee unresponsive in a closet with a belt around her neck. A door. A closet. These are not minor discrepancies in detail. They are two fundamentally different accounts of the physical location where Ashlee Robinson was found, given by two different parties who were supposedly both present. Which account is accurate has never been officially reconciled. Zanzibar police issued no statement addressing the contradiction. The matter has simply been left to sit alongside the official suicide ruling without resolution. The hospital documentation gave investigators and the family more to work with and more to be troubled by. Medical records obtained by a local Tanzanian media outlet and subsequently reported by WPV-TV in Philadelphia listed Ashlee's immediate cause of death as cerebral hypoxia due to strangulation and suffocation. Cerebral hypoxia refers to the deprivation of oxygen to the brain, the physiological mechanism of both hanging and manual strangulation. In a self-hanging, the individual cuts off their own oxygen supply using a ligature and their body weight. In a manual strangulation, someone else applies direct force to the neck to achieve the same physiological outcome. The medical record alone cannot distinguish between the two. That is the function of a forensic autopsy, specifically of a forensic pathologist examining the physical markers on and around the neck, the state of the soft tissue, the presence or absence of defensive wounds, and the positioning of the body. But what the record added beyond the cause of death is the detail that has most alarmed Ashlee's family and their legal team. The documentation noted an unidentified mark around her neck. Not a ligature mark consistent with a belt or a piece of cloth. Not a mark that could be neatly explained by the method described in the official narrative. An unidentified mark. That word, unidentified, is doing enormous forensic work in this case, and Tanzanian police have never addressed it publicly, not in any press conference, not in any official statement, not at any point in the weeks since the ruling was issued. Mapudera's public statements across the duration of the investigation have not been internally consistent, and the changes between them deserve scrutiny. On April 13th, when he first publicly addressed the death, he described Ashlee as having hanged herself inside a wardrobe using a piece of cloth from her dress. On April 19th, when the formal suicide ruling was announced, the official account described her hanging herself in her room following the argument with McCann. The location changed. The method changed. The item used changed. In criminal investigations, these kinds of shifts in an official narrative are not inconsequential. They reflect either an evolving understanding of the evidence, which would require explanation, or inconsistency in how information is being communicated publicly, which raises its own questions about the integrity of the process. Neither explanation has been offered. When Zuri Zanzibar, the Deputy Director of Criminal Investigations in Zanzibar, was approached for comment on the evolving account, he declined to speak at all, citing an ongoing investigation. The same investigation that, as of April 19th, had just been officially declared resolved. On the American side of this case, the Robinson family has not been passive. Ashlee's father, Harry Robinson, traveled to Washington, D.C., and went in person to press U.S. government officials to help establish contact with Tanzanian authorities. His words to reporters outside those meetings were stripped of diplomatic softness. "No one wants to talk to us. Just let us know what happened. That's the only thing we want to know, the truth." The direct pressure worked. The State Department facilitated contact, and the family was informed that an autopsy had been completed. But the full autopsy results have not been shared with the family as of April 23, 2026. Ashlee's body has not been released for repatriation. Her parents cannot plan a funeral. They cannot bring their daughter home. They are in the United States, waiting, while somewhere in Tanzania, the paperwork that might answer the most important question of their lives sits in a government office, unreleased. The family has also engaged legal representation in the United States and is coordinating directly with the State Department. They launched a GoFundMe, the Ashlee Jenae Justice Fund, to cover the costs of the investigation and eventual repatriation. That a family must crowdfund the basic right to know how their American daughter died abroad speaks to the grinding, expensive reality of seeking justice across international jurisdictions. The U.S. government has not issued detailed public statements about the depth of its involvement. The Zuri Zanzibar Hotel issued a brief statement confirming cooperation with investigative authorities and the U.S. Embassy. Tanzania's acting Minister for Tourism and Antiquities said authorities were waiting on the completion of forensic investigations. Everyone is waiting. The family has been waiting for weeks. Meanwhile, there is physical evidence at the Zuri Zanzibar that could potentially cut through weeks of contradictory statements and resolve the timeline of April 8th and 9th with precision. The hotel's key card tracking system records a time-stamped entry for every time a door is accessed, when, from which direction, and using which card. Modern luxury resort systems of this kind are granular and reliable. If McCann's account is accurate, that he returned to Ashlee's villa with security and found her, the key card logs will confirm exactly when he arrived and from which direction. If anyone else accessed that villa before that moment, the logs will show that too. The Robinson family's legal team has made the key card data a priority, alongside the hotel's surveillance footage, which would place people in specific locations at specific times throughout the night. Neither the key card data nor the camera footage has been publicly disclosed by Zanzibar police. Neither has been provided to the family. The investigation is sitting on the most concrete evidence available to it and has not shared what it shows. The public scrutiny of Joe McCann has intensified with each week that passes without transparency. He is 45 years old, a Miami-based entrepreneur who founded Asymmetric Financial, an institutional crypto investment firm. His professional biography describes 25 years of experience on Wall Street and in Silicon Valley, with previous roles at Microsoft, Passport Capital, and NodeSource. He has more than 100,000 followers on X, where he posts primarily about cryptocurrency and finance. His pinned quote on that platform is attributed to Iceberg Slim, the street hustler and pimp-turned-author. Only a fool trips on what's behind them. The choice to feature that particular quote on a public-facing professional profile has not gone unnoticed by the people following this case. Public records confirm that McCann was previously married to a woman named Shay Jackson. The marriage took place in 2018, with their wedding registry placing the ceremony at the greenhouse at Driftwood in Texas. The marriage ended in divorce in 2021, after approximately 3 years. Neither McCann nor Jackson has ever spoken publicly about the reason for the divorce, and no legal disputes or documented allegations of misconduct have surfaced in connection with it. Jackson has maintained a complete public silence since Ashlee's death and has not commented on the case in any form. She currently holds a senior role as Global Brand Marketing Director at Nike Schemes. What complicated the picture significantly was a 2024 social media post by McCann in which he referenced having a wife and two very young children, language that came years after his divorce from Jackson and before his public relationship with Ashlee Jenae. The post surfaced after Ashlee's death and went viral almost immediately. Who McCann was referring to in that post, the wife he described, the children, has never been identified or explained. No credible news outlet has confirmed whether McCann was in another undisclosed relationship during the period between his divorce and his engagement to Ashlee. The question has not gone away. Social media has pushed further. Unverified claims have circulated widely on YouTube commentary channels and across Twitter and Instagram, alleging that McCann was involved with other women in Tanzania during the trip, that the arguments between him and Ashlee centered on infidelity, and that his conduct on the island went well beyond what any official account has addressed. These allegations are not confirmed by mainstream journalism, have not featured in any official Tanzanian police statement, and should not be treated as established fact. They are part of the broader public conversation around a case where official transparency has been severely limited, and where a vacuum of information has predictably been filled by speculation. What makes the speculation difficult to entirely dismiss is not the speculation itself. It is the pattern of official evasion that has allowed it to grow unchecked. When police change their accounts without explanation, when autopsy results are withheld for weeks, when key evidence is not disclosed, and when the man at the center of the investigation says nothing publicly, the space for rumor expands because nothing credible fills it. What is confirmed and documented is this. Since the day he called Yolanda Denise Endres to say her daughter was stable and in hospital, Joe McCann has not contacted the Robinson family again. Not a follow-up call, not a message, not a condolence, not an explanation. The man who proposed marriage to Ashlee Robinson 6 days before she died, who was the last person with her before she was found, who told her mother everything was going to be fine, has gone completely and utterly silent. The family describes it as radio silence. Her father says it is devastating. Her mother has said publicly, with a steadiness that speaks to enormous strength, she was loved. She was not just going to be discarded and forgotten about. The silence of Joe McCann stands in direct contrast to the noise his absence is making. Mapudra said it plainly in his April 19th statement. We can't take legal action or detain him under these circumstances. McCann's passport, which had been confiscated during the investigation to prevent him from leaving Tanzania, was returned. He is believed to have since returned to the United States. No charges have been filed. No arrest has been made. He is not formally a suspect. He is a witness. The central witness, the only witness with first-hand proximity to what happened in that villa, and he has walked away from the island where Ashlee Robinson died without any legal consequence. Back to his life in Miami, back to his crypto firm, back to the silence he has maintained since that 11-hour phone call. The Robinson family is still fighting. They have lawyers. They have the attention of the U.S. State Department. They have a public that has not forgotten Ashlee's name or let go of the questions her death raised. They are pushing for the key card data. They are pushing for the surveillance footage. They are waiting for an autopsy report that may yet complicate or collapse the suicide ruling that Tanzanian authorities issued without, as far as anyone can determine, ever explaining the unidentified mark on Ashlee Robinson's neck. That mark has not been explained. That gap in the official record has not been closed. And until it is, the case that Zanzibar police have declared resolved remains, for the people who loved Ashlee Jenae, profoundly and devastatingly open. As of April 23, 2026, Ashlee's body remains in Tanzania. The autopsy results remain withheld. Joe McCann has not been charged. The investigation is officially ongoing. Whether it ever reaches a different conclusion depends on the key card logs, the camera footage, the forensic report, and on how loud a family is willing to be and for how long. Based on everything Harry Robinson and Yolanda Denise Endres have done in the weeks since their daughter died halfway around the world, the answer to that last question is clear. They are not going anywhere. They are not going quiet. And they are not going to let Ashlee be forgotten. Subscribe/follow for more updates as this investigation develops. Round Pushpin, where are you watching from? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts on the case. Upright Arrow, share this story. The more people know, the louder the call for justice for Ashlee.